Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning in. I'm sure you enjoyed our cousins who are professors at Princeton, PhDs,
Super
on our
smart
electric
guys.
one. But this one, we're going back to the dirt. We're going back to the toe. We're going back to the big truck mode. So this special edition is going to be focused on Tundra Tough and how rad the Toyota Tundra is.
It's so rad.
Yeah.
We're going to try and condense this down.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Well, and at the end of the day, man, when you know, you know. When it's
in your
show and glow, because it's
in your portfolio.
especially if it's accessories. Yes. So going back to the beginning, right? Toyota chose the name Tundra to reflect the rugged Arctic region, and the intended purpose of being off-grid, right? When you saw our X Overland podcast, these guys grab Toyotas and drive Toyotas in the Arctic region and in many parts of the desolate world, because it's an insurance policy. They want to build a return where they started, right? And we believe that the QDR of Toyota, the quality, durability, and reliability is incredible. We think our vehicles are built better from the ground up.
Totally.
And we think we can prove it to many respects because of the technology we put in.
Yeah.
So the Tundra was the first and only full-size truck, and here's some more proof, right, to get the top safety pick award from the Insurance Institute of Highway Safety, right? They picked us as number one. We go to Kelley Blue Book, which is a very good indicator of how well vehicles are built because of resale. We were a top 10 overall pick, the Tundra, and it was number 3. For full-size trucks, we are numero uno. And not only that, do we think we have the best brand, the best truck, but we also have the best salespeople and the best dealer network in the business, hands down.
And this is an unbiased opinion from outside parties.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm amazed how many people I talk to. They don't think that we've been in the truck business very long, but it has been 70 years. It all started with the 1935 Toyota G1 Type A. It was a 20-foot long truck, 65 horsepower with a 1,500cc six-cylinder. Whenever I see CC, I think about a lawnmower.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, there's probably some nice lawnmowers that are approaching this output.
Yeah.
But this is a 20-foot long bed.
Yeah. Type R engine, man, pretty crazy. And then we also had another one, was a 1954 FA truck, pretty rad, hard to get. Most of them are in museums at this point in time.
Yeah.
But it started to change in North America when we started building bigger trucks. And I remember being in the truck department back then, and we had a lot of the engineers coming in and saying, the truck has to fit in the garage. And when they saw 250, 350 size trucks and power diesels, they realized you can't put those in your typical garage.
Yeah.
They park them in barns or park them outside. So it was a big learning curve for the Japanese to realize that the truck market in America is much different than it is Japan. And you spent time in Japan, you know.
Yeah, it's smaller, it's more condensed, and we just have a different use case and different clientele.
Yeah.
Which is why Toyota started with the T100, right? We had the mini trucks, were capable with those. They had a great name following. We had the Hilux. We had, the pickup named differently depending on who was paying attention to it. But we started with the T100 that was just a little bit wider, right? A little bit bigger than what the mini trucks were. Wasn't huge, but it was a step in that direction. And this vehicle, 93 to 98, estimated average cost was $13,000. Just under $14,000, which is crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
Probably get a few of these things. 2 powertrains, 4-cylinder and a V6, 150, 160 horsepower, and then 190 horsepower. So again, like very low output comparatively. Obviously huge compared to our first truck. This is a great improvement.
Yeah, big time.
But it wasn't some crazy powerhouse, and it still wasn't that big. But really great truck. And then that moves us on to our first generation of Tundra, right? So again, a little bit bigger. And this one, there's a name for it, right? We've got Tundra, not T100, not T150. Thank heavens we didn't go down that route. Naming, obviously, we could have continued with that, but we have another brand's 150, the F-150, which would have caused problems. So thankfully that got the kibosh put on it, and we kept with creating the truck, the Tundra. Mm-hmm. And that is where we got our world famous 2UZ 4.7 liter V8, right? So 190 horsepower out of 190 out of our V6, 245 out of our iForce V8. This is our first iForce. super smooth, great engine, a ton of power, right?
Yeah.
When this came out, you drove it, you're like, dang,
Yeah.
what is this Toyota? We come from the land of 4 cylinders, right? And this thing was a whole new animal.
And I thought they put, was it the 4.7 or 4.8 in the 4Runner at one point?
Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
few years you could get
Yeah.
the 4.7 in a 4Runner.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, what Andrew alluded to, we were going to go 250 or T150 because it was a T100, but there was some lawsuit agita with Ford, and so we brought the brand Tundra, which to me is way better.
Oh,
Way better.
I'm so glad it's not.
And it's iconic in the truck business. Everyone knows if you're just going to get an entry level full size truck, Tundra is definitely a consideration.
Yeah. Now this first generation was still not quite full size, right? It's kind of like a 3/4 of the way to a full size truck.
Yeah.
Great size for a lot of people. But the second generation we moved into in 2007, that is where we became truly a full size truck.
Yeah.
Much bigger. When this launched, you had that Crew Max cab. And I just remember thinking, why is this door so big? Why is this back seat so huge? It's bigger than the front seat, right?
Yeah.
Massive truck, and we had a massive powertrain to follow that. 5.7 liter V8, 3UR engine, 381 horsepower, 401 pound-feet of torque. Huge change from what it just came from. Towing 10,000 pounds, that's the first time we've gotten to that number, right? We couldn't do that with the previous gen. And it could even tow a space shuttle.
Yeah. And that's proof. They show that.
Yeah.
They show towing it. But, that 3UR FE engine in the 5.7 liter, we always like to say, you are awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You are thirsty and you are awesome.
Yeah, you are thirsty and awesome. And what's so crazy about being thirsty is that in 2008, I was down in Pueblo. One of the dealers put a supercharger on the 5.7 liter, and it bumped it up from 381 to 501 in horsepower, 550 foot-pounds of torque. We were literally accelerating to the speed limit, and I couldn't believe how fast and whippy this truck was. But also, I asked him, how often do you fill this thing up?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And so what's so crazy about that powertrain is that you've got, 550 foot-pounds of torque with the supercharger. And you look at this current gen, which we'll talk about momentarily, and we're still up 33 foot-pounds of torque with the current gen Tundra Hybrid Max versus that supercharger. Yeah. So I'd love to be able to drag both of them. I'd probably argue, because torque is what gets you going, I'd probably argue the current gen could beat the 5.7 liter with the supercharger 0 to 60, just because torque is everything, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, and then if you do it for any reasonable amount of time, then you didn't run out of fuel in the new one. The old one needs to go to a gas station.
Yes.
It's not good for high-speed chases.
Yeah, exactly.
So our third generation, like MJ mentioned, full redesign. Everything has changed. We know that we have a TNGA-F platform that brings us a new body, frame, engine, transmission, axles, right? We even went from a 5-lug back to a 6-lug. Everything is new on this vehicle, and it is tuned for performance. 3.4 liter twin turbo V6 engine and a 10-speed automatic. This engine has tons of power and more consistent power for those of us who are going at different altitudes as we go throughout our drives, right? So for us in the Denver region, that consistency is really, really helpful, and we're getting those numbers like we're expecting to have. You talk to anyone who's purchased a new Tundra that lives in this area and tows a trailer, they'll tell you everything about it is better from a towing standpoint. It's much more enjoyable. And that's for our regular one. Then we add the availability of a hybrid. So the first time we've had a hybrid in a truck, we add the electric motor for more torque and more horsepower, getting us to 437 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah.
Crazy. And this proves forced induction is amazing. Superchargers are cool. I'm a big turbo guy. I will take turbos over superchargers. If I have to, I'll take both. But I would not give up turbos for a supercharger because we get this really great performance and even better fuel economy. So even if everything was equal, even if our power output was the same between this and the supercharged one, we're getting better fuel economy as well with this.
And we have to allude to this, like where Andrew's going, is that we get a lot of haters on smaller engines, right? They think bigger is better. And when you look in the racing community, like Formula One, right? They used to do V12s, V10s, V8s. Now they're running a 1.6 liter V6 turbocharged hybrid with the drag reduction system, the DRS. And that powertrain can get up to 1,000 horsepower, right? Out of that small little tiny engine. Now, Not going to negate the fact that V10s, V12 sound sweet,
Yes.
right? That's all show and glow.
Yeah.
But the industry's kind of moving in that direction. And when you look at our V35 Alpha, which is the current hybrid max engine, versus the UR Awesome 5.7 liter, you're looking at a 56 bump in horsepower over that 5.7 liter V8 and 182 foot-pounds of torque more than the V8 powertrain.
Yeah.
So you're just getting better powertrain performance with something smaller. And it comes down to the power to weight ratio, right? Race cars are light for a reason because they got to be fast and they got to be quick.
It's also the
Yeah.
total package, right? We've
Yeah.
designed everything to work in a way that complements each other, right? If you
Yeah.
just put the new engine in the old platform, probably wouldn't be as great.
Yeah.
But new transmission, new gear ratios, everything related to making this platform perform the way we want it to, that's why it makes sense.
Yeah, in this current generation, we have 7 different models, but one thing I want to specifically call out for our audience is the 1794, right? 1794 represents the ranch that we bought to build our San Antonio plant.
Yeah.
That's when it was founded. And so we did a special 1794 edition. One cool thing about these trucks is they are built in San Antonio, domestically built. Most of the content is domestically sourced, right? So it's American built and Texas tough. Pretty rad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with that being said, we've got to kick you to Curbside Keller. We're looking far and wide for that guy, but we know he's got some good content with one of our favorites, Rob Edwards. Let's go,
Curbside
Curbside.
Keller back again. This again with longtime friend of the region, Rob Edwards with Vista. Okay, Rob, you've been a fan of the Tundra from the beginning, going for it, loving it, driving it. What draws you to Tundra, even as we continue to evolve the Tundra?
You know, I think what draws me to the Tundra, not only is it an unbelievable truck, it certainly fits my lifestyle, being out in the country, having horses, having to pull a horse trailer, and it does all those utilitarian things. Where I fell in love with the Tundra was in 2003, there was a Tundra Champion to every store. And it was the first time that Toyota was going to get into a real half-ton pickup. They'd played around with all the T100 and all these different things, but for the first time ever, they were going to have a truck that could compete with F-150 and Chevrolet. And so they had the champions, the Tundra Truck Champions, go to Princeton, Indiana for a tour. And what I saw there was the most incredible facility. And I saw the way they were going to put the frame together, the way they were going to put the brakes together, and the way that they were going to lead in every class possible, from payload to towing to power to horsepower to torque. And they were going to do it the Toyota way. And if you look at AI right now, it says most reliable, right? Best resale. So they brought that into the half-ton game, and I saw how they put that together, and it was an oversized half-ton back then. And that's really what got me excited about Tundra. And of course, you know, our group owns some of those other manufacturers. I would never drive anything else but a Tundra because they're the best. They off-road with the best of them. You can be up and it'll take you to the trailhead of a 14er, which is awesome. But it will also pull the horse trailer and the way it drives. Now I'm driving up to Casper, Wyoming all the time. Nothing's better on the highway either. So they nail it. They nail it. And I love it.
I love your enthusiasm. I, too, got a chance to take that truck champion trip out to Indiana. We beat up a lot of trucks out on that South 40.
Yeah.
And all I remember was the Tundra was the one that kept going, and we were mud bogging. It was right after a great rain. I was watching Fords losing their front bumpers and all that, getting stuck in the mud. Tundra kept driving on.
Yeah.
Kept driving on.
Everything that they wanted to do, they had us all out on the track, and you heavy braked it, like hammer the brakes. It stopped faster, meant the calipers were this big, and Ford was like this. Yeah. And so off-road, they had you off-road. You know, it dominated off-road. It dominated, you know, the braking. It dominated safety. And it still does. It's still, all these years later, including the awesome, you know, how they look today, but it's still a game-changing truck. It's still a game-changing truck, and that's awesome.
Well, let's talk about changing the game in regards to power plants. We got hybrid in this now, and I know you've sassed
Well,
MJ 40 through the years.
Yeah, back then he's like, well, can I get another Prius? Can I get another Prius? I would come and he'd take us to lunch and I'd go, Prius again? Are you in disciplinary action? Can you not have a vehicle that doesn't have a hybrid in it? But the best news is your horsepower, all the extra torque, a little bit extra fuel economy, and it's super fun to drive. So that 0 to 30 is super fun. And Toyota back then was always known as, they would always get you there, but probably late. And so finally, they came up with a motor that not only will they get you there, but you can be first. And that's what the hybrid gives you. So hopefully you're now driving a Tundra and you've left the Prius or whatever, you're probably driving a hydrogen car at this point. Who knows?
He's in a van. He's in a van.
What the inside scoop doesn't know about the TRD Bros is one of the main Bros is more of like a Prius. It's a hidden Prius. I've never seen anybody drive as many hybrid Highlanders as MJ Connor. I mean, he must have had, no wonder dealers can't get him because all he would do is use them as demos.
You're 100% correct. And right now, the hard thing to get is a Sienna van. And he has mad love with the Sienna van, as we saw in the last episode. So, yeah,
hey,
he still loves his hybrids, but this time it's a van. He's fallen in love with the van.
But hey, Tundra did a great job. And I think we've educated the market that hybrid is not just about fuel economy and certainly the environmental side, which it is all of those different things. But I think Tundra is a great representation of what a hybrid motor coupled with a great V6 motor can produce in terms of horsepower, torque, and drivability. It's a lot of fun to drive. So Toyota nailed it.
Well, let's talk you've got a couple different brands in your stable.
Yeah.
Partial and in love with Toyota and Tundra. How do we conquer the no replacement or displacement boys? You got to have the bigger the V8, the bigger the power. Nothing is better than a big V8.
Well, I think the nice thing that Tundra has done over time, marketing and advertising wise, what's important to all these guys, whether they're in the oil fields or they're on the ranch or they're a commuter around town, reliability, that truck has to always start. And those other manufacturers don't always start. And those trucks are in the shop. And when you're in the shop, you're down. And with the Tundra, the reliability piece, Toyota continues to nail it, continues to stand by what they produce. I think this last recall is an indication. There is no manufacturer on the earth replacing motors, doing what is right with a very, very, very small failure rate. And again, it's those decisions that will always separate Toyota from Ford and Chevrolet. And is Dodge, are they still in business? I mean, they could be.
For today, at least.
Yeah, for today. But again, I think it's Tundra's marketing, their advertising. It's cool. I mean, the latest rounds of marketing and advertising that Tripp has done are absolutely awesome.
All right. Thank you, Curbside, as always, for bringing us live, important information and feedback from our advocates who are out there using our product and helping our customers understand the benefits that it has. Now, we're going to turn you over to someone who's going to take us through some accessories because we know how much the Tundra excels when we've got accessories with it. We're going to kick you over to Mountain Meg, and she's going to give you a rundown on some usage tips with the Tundra.
Hey guys, Mountain Meg here. It is 100 degrees outside, so safety first. Just wanted to take you guys out on a day trip with me. I know not everybody loves to get out and disappear for the weekend, get off the grid, go camping, but everybody and their mother in the Denver region these days has a paddleboard. So I thought I'd walk you through some of my favorite day trip accessories with the 1794 2025 Tundra. Shout out Lunar Rock, one of the best colors ever created. So what we're gonna do is do a quick walk around, and I'm just gonna highlight a couple things for my day trip. All right, y'all, this is where I like to get started. Get the truck on, hit this AC 120 volt button. We have power, a couple pit stops along the way, celebrity guest appearance, the ARB Zero Fridge Freezer, one of my favorite day trip accessories. I know a lot of people think about this as a weekend accessory, but I was talking with a guy lately who said his wife loves to use it for Costco runs. which I thought was brilliant. Instead of all those cooler bags, you just load up the fridge when you get out to the vehicle. You're good to go till you get home. On the website, this runs somewhere between $11.80 to $13.80 depending on the size. And then one of my favorites, we have the Yakima bed rack, adjustable height. This is closer to $16.60 on the website. Ooh, that tent, she cute. She's not gonna be used today, but doesn't she look good? Now we're gonna come back to the bed. We have the AC 120 volt plug right here, up and running around this side. Today I have the external battery from Dometic, gorgeous. The AC input, the DC input, and then the 120 volt DC out. It has other options too. Paddleboard not included, but it's a gorgeous day to get out on the water. And the way we're gonna do that is our Dometic Gale electric pump. All I have to do is set the PSI and press play, and it'll turn off automatically, so good to go. So I chose the 1794 edition for that saddle tan leather interior, nothing better. But I do love to toe the line between city and country. In that case, add on a pair of TRD wheels, the blacked out badges, some Predator steps, and I think you strike exactly the right balance between city and country. All right, brochachos and brochachas, we are locked and loaded with the paddle. We got the life jacket, we got the sunscreen. We are pumped up and ready to get out on the water, so thank you for tuning in.
All right, the professor outside with the Tundra, Meg talking about all of our cool AAP products like Yakima, Dometic, all that fun stuff. But we have some amazing accessories for our products, and we know our customers like to do it. I got to drop in our last SEMA report in 2025 that showed the average customer now is spending $2,200 to $2,500 on accessories after they buy the truck. What's crazy is 18% of the market, these customers are spending upwards of $5,000 on their trucks. 18% of what SEMA surveyed. And then you go to Overland Expo, right? And it's what, 90% Toyota, and they go upwards of what, $100,000 on their trucks, and they're happy about it. So we're all about accessories as TRD Pro Bros, and because we're talking about accessories, we got to tune up the professor. A-List Andrew, what are your top 5 specifically for the Tundra?
Specifically for Tundra, number 1 will always be tonneau cover. Locked, dry, functional, easy to put on, easy to take off, always number 1, always at the top of the list. Number 2, following right behind that, I'm going to add in a new one, ARB rear fridge, right? And I say rear because this is an Elements fridge. It's available and it can handle being outside. So if you have a tonneau cover, great. You can leave it in there, it's no problem. If you don't have a tonneau cover, you can also leave it out there, no problem. So really cool. You got power in the bed, so it's easy to use. Very, very convenient setup. Now, number 3, we're going to go with skid plates because our TRD skid plates are super functional. They look sharp and they perform really well. One more layer of protection underneath the truck to not worry about things. We obviously need to add TRD wheels, and I'm going to take this a step further with our TRD Pro wheels. They're BBS forged, really sharp looking wheels. I love these wheels, and the fact that they are even nicer than a typical alloy wheel just adds more icing on the cake.
And I got to interject you, it's totally TRD Pro because everyone knows what TRD means, right? Totally rad dude.
That's right.
And you're totally rad.
Totally rad.
Yeah, and he's a pro.
Totally rad dad. That's
totally rad dad. That's another one because we are totally rad dad. He's self-proclaimed.
That's right. The final one is going to be our rock rails. This is kind of a lesser known item. I think you're getting some more awareness of that out there, but these are functional rock rails. They give you protection. You can utilize them to move the vehicle. It is a super, super nice thing to see something that is functional, strong, and durable, just like the Tundra should have on it. So that is my top 5 list. Great accessories that just make the truck functional and look sharp.
And don't forget, too, when we have holiday weekends that come up, Toyota Parts Center online, right, always offers a discount. So if you want to order them, you can pick them up at the store. You can have them directly delivered to you, whatever you choose. But don't forget about your ability to buy online, almost Amazon-like.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we're about to wrap up this awesome edition of the Toyota Tundra. We hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in to the TRD Pro Bros, because when you know, because we also have an accessory portfolio that's all show and glow.
Even with the trucks that tow.
even with the trucks a ton. We could just keep going on, but we got to figure out some more content that rhymes with that,
That's right.
right? Anything you want to leave with our audience before we shut down?
Just how great the Tundra is, incredible platform. Hopefully we've shared a little bit of that information. But until next time.
Yeah, until next time. We love you guys.